Even before the cameras started rolling, it was clear that the Fantastic Four First Steps will be a very different take on Marvel's First Family. First came word that Julia Garner had been cast as the Silver Surfer. Then, Marvel confirmed that the movie is set in an alternate universe that exists as a retro-futuristic 1960s version of the MCU. And thanks to the newest First Steps trailer, we've got confirmation of another big twist. Vanessa Kirby's Invisible Woman is pregnant.
Are you pregnant?
What?
If you're not a hardcore Fantastic Four reader, some of these reveals may raise more questions than they answer. Why is Silver Surfer a woman in the MCU? Why is it such a big deal that Susan Storm is having a baby? Here's what you need to know about both twists and why First Steps is shaping up to be a far different Fantastic Four movie than we've gotten before.
Are we safe?
I don't know. There's not enough time.
It remains to be seen just how faithful the MCU's Fantastic Four will be to the comics, but it's clear at least one major detail is changing. The new movie will introduce a female version of Silver Surfer, played by Ozark's Julia Garner. Surfer isn't the first Marvel character whose gender has been changed for the MCU. Captain Marvel's Mar-Vell is also a man in the comics, but this might be the most significant example to date. Technically, though, Marvel isn't changing the character's gender in this case, but rather which character becomes Silver Surfer. Traditionally, Silver Surfer's origin depicts him as Norrin Radd, an inhabitant of the utopian world of Zen-La. Zen-La becomes the latest target of Galactus' world-devouring hunger, and so Radd agrees to become Galactus' herald in exchange for sparing Zen-La and saving the life of his lover, Shalla-bal. Garner isn't playing Norrin Radd, but Shalla-bal. In this version of the story, it seems she's the one who makes the bargain with Galactus. It's she who becomes doomed to seek out other worlds for her insatiable master to consume. We assume that means Norrin is the one forced to stay behind and lead Zen-La in his lover's absence.
Master, I am ready to serve.
Then go, my Silver Surfer.
However, it's also possible that both characters become Silver Surfer. This is the case in one particular version of the Marvel Universe introduced in 1999's Earth X. In that twisted future version of the Marvel U, Norrin bestows a portion of his power onto Shala, and the two serve as twin heralds of Galactus, who in this universe is actually a hyper-evolved version of Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman's son, Franklin. The fact that the movie features the shalla-bal version of Silver Surfer is another sign that this world is very different from the MCU. This could be a universe where the Silver Surfer's origin plays out differently. Instead of Norrin Radd making the Faustian bargain with Galactus, it's Shalla-bal, but that could still mean the MCU has its own version of Silver Surfer, who is Norrin Radd. That said, it's just as likely that Marvel made this change simply to diversify its cosmic heroes. Outside of Guardians of the Galaxy, characters like Gamora, Mantis, and the recently introduced Phyla Vell, Marvel's comic superhero lineup tends to skew heavily male. That includes Nova, Beta Ray Bill, Darkhawk, Gladiator, and Adam Warlock. Rather than setting up an alternate universe, Marvel may simply want to level the playing field a bit. By now, it's clear that the film is set in an alternate Marvel universe set during the 60s, a place where technology and fashion have taken their own turn. The Fantastic Four themselves may have influenced the course of history, with Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards using his technology to build a bigger, better version of New York City. But what happens when Galactus arrives to consume everything? And if this isn't the MCU, there's no guarantee Earth will be saved in the end.
We will protect you.
There's a reason the Fantastic Four are known as Marvel's first family. They're a loving, if somewhat dysfunctional, family first and a superhero team second. That family element only becomes all the more pronounced once Reed Richards and Susan Storm become parents. In the comics, Reed and Sue currently have 2 children. Their elder son, Franklin, was introduced in 1968's Fantastic Four Annual number 6. Franklin's younger sister, Valeria, followed in 2002's Fantastic Four number 54. As you might expect from parents whose bodies are inundated with cosmic radiation, Franklin and Valeria are both far from ordinary children. Franklin is easily one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. He has the ability to warp reality and matter at will, a power that even allows him to create entire pocket dimensions out of nothing. This power also manifests in other ways, giving Franklin everything from telepathy and telekinesis to the ability to project his consciousness across the astral plane. Essentially, Franklin is the one being on Earth whose power is so great it rivals that of cosmic entities like the Celestials and Galactus. And he's destined to only grow more powerful with age. Fantastic Four have met multiple adult versions of Franklin from the future, suggesting that he'll one day grow to become an immortal defender of the entire Marvel Universe. That is a tough act to follow, but Valeria has never had much trouble holding her own in the Richards clan. She doesn't have any superhuman abilities, not yet at least, but her mind more than makes up for that. Despite her young age, Valeria is every bit as brilliant a scientist as her father. She's a skilled inventor and an integral member of the Future Foundation, a team spearheaded by Reed that brings together the most brilliant young minds in the Marvel Universe. As they've grown older, Franklin and Valeria have begun to take a more active role in the Fantastic Four's adventures. They even have their own superhero codenames. Franklin is Powerhouse and Valeria is Brainstorm. Whatever the future holds for the Marvel Universe, Franklin and Valeria will be there to shape it. One of the more interesting elements when it comes to Valeria Richards involves her connection to Dr. Doom. As much as Doom hates the Fantastic Four in general, and Reed in particular, he's actually pretty fond of Valeria. She may be the one person on Earth the incredibly self-absorbed Doom genuinely loves. In fact, Doom is Valeria's godfather. When Sue went into labor, complications from her cosmic ray exposure caused Valeria's birth to be extremely difficult. Her brother Johnny was forced to call on Doom's aid to deliver the baby. Doom's price was to choose Valeria's name, and he named the baby after his former lover. Ever since that day, Doom has shown a peculiar affection for Valeria. That bond has only grown as Valeria's brilliant mind has begun to assert itself. Much to her father's chagrin, Valeria reciprocates Doom's love, even referring to him as Uncle Doom. Doom will never bring himself to acknowledge Reed as the superior scientist, but he has no such hang-ups when it comes to Valeria. As much as Doom hates Reed, he also covets what his nemesis has: a warm, loving family and the respect and adulation of the entire planet. That's why, when Doom remakes reality into Battleworld in 2015's Secret Wars, he steals Reed's family for his own. Susan becomes God Emperor Doom's consort, and Franklin and Valeria his adopted children. Naturally, Sue was not too thrilled to realize what happened when her memories returned. But despite all that, the bond between Uncle Doom and Valeria Richards endures. One thing is clear following Marvel's CinemaCon presentation and the release of the new First Steps trailer. This movie is going to introduce Franklin Richards to the Marvel multiverse, if not Valeria as well. As many suspected, the First Steps portion of the title does indeed have multiple meanings. We assume that First Steps will take place over a long enough period of time that Sue eventually gives birth to Franklin, or twins, during the course of the film. And just as in the comics, Sue and Pedro Pascal's Reed will discover that their son is far from an ordinary child. He's essentially a god in the body of a young boy. It remains to be seen what exact role Franklin will have in the conflict of First Steps, though it's probably no coincidence that Ralph Ineson's Galactus is paying a call just as Reed and Sue are confronting parenthood. Does Galactus see Earth as just another snack in his never-ending cosmic feast, or is he specifically interested in Franklin Richards? We could easily see a scenario where Galactus craves Franklin's power specifically. If you can conjure entire universes out of thin air, then even Galactus need never go hungry again. It's also enough to wonder how Reed and Sue's children might factor into the larger multiverse saga. We know from films like 2022's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and 2023's The Marvels that the multiverse is facing an increasing threat from incursions. That phenomenon where two parallel universes begin to collide.
An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes and they collide, destroying one or both entirely.
Is Franklin somehow connected to the incursions? Is he the catalyst that brings the Fantastic Four from their universe into the MCU in Avengers Doomsday? And what about Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom? It remains to be seen what, if any, role Doom will play in First Steps. We don't even know that he hails from the same First Steps universe. But we do have to wonder if First Steps will introduce Valeria alongside her brother and set up that crucial bond between the youngest member of the Richards family and Uncle Doom. Will Avengers Secret Wars follow the comics and see Doom steal Reed's family for his own? Whatever happens, it's safe to say that the children of the Fantastic Four have a big part to play in the future of the MCU. One of them is among the most powerful beings in existence. The other is one of the smartest. Together, they have the potential to reshape the climax of the multiverse saga and whatever comes next for the MCU. Are you excited for Marvel's female Silver Surfer? What role do you think Franklin Richards will play in the new movie? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and for all things MCU, make sure you keep it locked right here on IGN.